Mbote, Mbote, away ni Siemi, Kambote Kiano, all praises to Tata nZambi and Pungu, Kongo Yavi for what he's doing in this time. I give all honor to King Kongo, the Muntu, King Kongo, Mfumo Yisuku, to Tata I give all honor to Tata nZambi and Pungu to lend Kongo Yavi. I have honored to Mfumo Yisu, the Muntu, the Bana Betu Chiluba, who came to teach the way that we rejected and the world has been deceived about. I give honor to the Mwana Velana. I give honor to all of you who are doing Tata nZambi's work, scattered across the earth in spirit and in truth. I give honor to all of you who are continuing to wake up the nations despite all of the interference of the enemy and all the tricks of the trade that he has put in his book. And that's why we're going to use what he wrote against them to expose the thief and his lies. I will say, Kukise Yombote, welcome. I will say Osikamene, or Tusikamene if it's in the morning for you. I will say that Betwabu, all praises, Yenge Keno, peace, Luvuvamu, Yala. It's an honor once again to be able to come before you for Tata nZambi. And as you can see, the title, and this is where many people don't even know the word team really came from, is nTima, which is the Bantu word for heart that the Muslims call Tima. That's why they say Fatima, hearts. They got that from us. And the nTima is what the imposter uses to deceive us, because he switched out the nTima with the images that he made and also with the spirit that he gave, because the world doesn't understand the concept of how Lucifer masquerades as an angel of light, as it talks about in Corinto, Paula, Corinthians, that we call Corinto, and Zola, love. This is a mockery. The way Lucifer tricked our people is to convince them that he would love us more than the Most High, than King Kongo Tata nZambi. And that's why when the heathens don't even know that they were tricked to switching Zeus with King Kongo, that it brought a split in the church. And they have been made to believe the split has been fixed, but that's just another trick, because this split, the church can only be fixed if nZolele is running it. And that's why they covered it up about Simantoko and his nTima, his heart, because he took back the churches and he is in charge of all the teachings of the Most High. Through him, you learn that Mfumo Yisu gave him the authority to come back when he was to help and assist with Kimbangu and Padi to be to open back up the heavens that were closed by the hypocrites. Okay, and so many people don't get it, is our people, as I did in my previous video, because the heart that they're on was the heart of the gods of the slave master. And I'm not talking about all the nations who went into captivity, because it wasn't just the Bana Betu, the Egyptians. This is why you get confused. They took all they took all different black people from the continent, but all Africans weren't the same, and that's why we're getting the confusion. They don't understand that the Canaanites are the ones who are creating the confusion because they were in the land. Okay, I don't know why this is freezing. Something is going on. My family is here, and I don't know what applications that they're running, but I know I had a message, so I don't know if there's an issue going on, but this could also be the enemy. So hopefully, Kimbo Kimbo Tatanzambi Mazulu, King Fumo Kyakuisa, Tatanzambi and Punga Father. The enemy does not want to have this message come out. We pray Tatanzambi that the Mwana Velala, the Moya Pele, all the Maliki Makongo, righteousness will come and block any interference, Yaya, that as things are starting to heat up, Tatanzambi, that you will bring this revelation out, that the Mwana Velala will help us to understand, because more and more the agents of the enemy are trying their best to run interference, because too many of us are understanding what we were never supposed to understand. Mwanakumbusei, Imana Gana Msalisetu, Yenge Kena Tidipemba Kalunga, Asalama Maliki Makongo. The honor to all of the Unkuluntu, down to Tata Adama and Nenga Mama Eva, and all of the Bana Betu who were righteous before this time. Bayet and Kosi Kimba, hallelujah. Yeah, it's starting to get interesting now, because I know the biggest trick, and I mean, I've been, because I absorb what people write on YouTube, and I absorb what was written down about the deception of the cross. I also absorb a lot of things that people say, and I honor them for what they put. But one of the things that I know about Lucifer is that he has always used as a weapon against the Bana Betu nZolele, the Negroes, is a jealous heart. That's why Mfumo Yisu Kuso Kongo, when he talked about how we talked and treat one another, and this is kind of how the modifications of the scriptures were done, and people don't understand that. That's why the Eastern Orthodox Christians, their scriptures are more detailed, whereas the Western churches have a lot more removals, because they've written it as if the converted Jews and the lineage Jews were the same, which in other scriptures you're going to find that it wasn't the case. So like when Mfumo Yisu was talking to the Sanhedrin, and he was talking to the Pharisees, Sadducees, scribes, and hypocrites, the majority of them came from the outside. Okay, we had our people who were involved, because there were those of us who had wicked hearts, Isaiah 2. And what people don't understand is, through the modifications of the scriptures interpretation, the converts and the bloodline lineages became like they're the same. Okay, that was part of the way that they were able to trick people in the churches to think that they were preaching the right way when they were preaching it backwards. And so this is what many people don't understand is Lucifer, this was caused because Lucifer made the Bantu people have jealous hearts towards one another, okay, to where we would kill each other and do bad things, okay. That's one of the reasons why we hated Tata nZambi in that way, was our heart was not circumcised. The nTima was Luciferian and not King Kongo, okay. When it says that Davidi had a heart like God or the Lord, that's why they took his name out of the scriptures, because they did not want the people to know that there's how the hearts can be switched. Okay. So when we talk about Bantu people and our culture and the things that are happening in the ancestors, our ancestors are nobody else's ancestors. No other African tribes or nothing. No Europeans, no Native Americans. Okay, the Bana Betu of nZolele were a specific group, a specific lineage. Okay, and this is why I cautioned people to say, don't let people bring you back into Egypt when we are escaping from Egypt. Because the world, first of all, doesn't know that the whole world system has become Egyptian, masquerading as King Kongo's way, which was actually started through the Canaanites with their gods. They hated their curse from nZambi and Pungu, so they took it upon themselves to go the way of Cain and his way, which was Lucifer, and infiltrate their way up to become the virus that would mess up all the 72 tribes that came out of the Noka, because the Most High had decreed that their land would be given over to the 12 tribes because they happened to be in the location which was centralized from the beginning. Okay. When they were dividing, when they had been given that land, um, they messed up and lost it by committing the sin. So they had to give that land up for the promised children, which was already predestined. That's why the devil did it, because he knew that that land was to be given to the Bana Betu, and he wanted to make sure that everything would be done to run interference. That's why he tried to kill Abana, and that's why he even changed his name, okay, to his father, and also those who come to that lineage that were doing wickedly, and to connect you to the Brahma bull, okay, because that the Brahma bull is really Baal. It's the holy cow, okay. So they tricked you to thinking that you're going the way of the Most High when you're going the way of the holy cow by changing names, changing stories, modifying interpretations, so that you wouldn't catch on that the Bible was not completely true, because you were under the spell of the holy cow, of the Brahma bull, of the, you know, the witch, the Lilith, the flying eagle that's really black, um, that took our eagle, and of course, uh, basically made the image of the fallen one to become the one that's worshipped, even though everyone at the time of the flood was dark skinned. Okay. So now, the nTima. Okay, first let me get my intro going here. Again, I don't own the rights to it. It's all for the edification of the channel and to bring about spiritual awareness, and not for anyone else to. It's not for me to profit off of any way. All praises. Bayeti. Zola, 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 Kembo Nayo. All praises, Kemba and Tata nZambi. Oh, Wakanda, family, Kintwadi, togetherness. This message is very important from my perspective because Tata nZambi is now going to do more to reveal who's on his side, his heart, and who isn't. There's a reason why he told us to circumcise our nTima. The one thing that I'm glad for, my upbringing with my parents, that's why when I look at what Tata nZambi is doing to me in this awakening, I can relate to my father because even though he still goes along with the way he's been taught, we still interact. We still have a relationship. We can still, we may not always agree on certain things, but we still interact. You know, um, he has a great heart, and so it's the same with my mom. It's like we may not always, and there's certain things that I talk about that she knows, but she gave me a heart of love, and so did he. Because one of the things that we learned growing up is not one of the siblings were better than the other. Okay, we were all same. We were the same, and we were all treated with love and kindness. And of course, when you did something wrong, you got chastised for it because they were doing their part to raise us, according to what is already inside of them that they don't even know was already there. The problem is, like many of those in the Negro cult community, the Black people community, is there's a bigger picture of deception going on about whose side are we really on. And one of the biggest deceptions is our history, because what we thought we saw from our people wasn't really what was going on. There was a lot of deception behind the scenes of many of our leaders, because when you weren't there, when you have been conditioned to uh, remember history a different way because of agreements that have been made, that's part of our problem. Okay, there were those of us whose nTima was to stay in the captivity that we were brought into, while there were those of us whose nTima was to get out of the captivity that we were brought into, and this was part of the issue. The problem is those who did not want to leave were given a better life than those who wanted to leave. So it created animosity. As it already had started on the plantations and the slavery, it created even with the kings that were still ruling in their spots, they became more like they were just there to keep a sense of unity, a sense of cultural awareness, but they were not really kings per se for us who were Bana Betu. Uh, it's kind of like what's going on with our leaders now. It's like you're only half a lion, not a full lion. When I say of Fumayisu, so you're half the imposter lion, and you're half the real lion. Okay, And so that automatically puts you on the imposter lion side because his heart is deceptive, but still looks good. And that's the Lucifer lion. So you have the Lucifer lion, you have Tata nZambi's lion, and then you have the Lucifer lion. Okay. So the Lucifer lion is always cunning, looking to get, looking to steal the power away from the Tata nZambi's lion, King Kongo. Okay. That's what has basically happened throughout the history of Bana Betu, all the way back to nSambi. And this was implanted in our heads um, for generations of people that our heart would take us away to the imposter lion or the which is really the dragon. That's why it says the lion who spoke like a dragon. Okay, who is that? That's the imposter. That's Cain. That's Nimrod. That's the false one. Or the lamb. I said there's a lamb who spoke like a dragon. The lamb who spoke like a dragon. So it's like that's the imposter shepherd Lucifer. Then you have the lamb that speaks like a lion. You have the lamb. You have a lamb that speaks like a dragon, and then you have the lamb that speaks like the Mwana Dimemi that speaks like a lion, and Simba. Okay, so Tata nZambi's nTima is always about the good, the good, not the bad. Okay. However, he allows the things to happen for those who do bad. So, what many people have misunderstood, especially a lot of scripture interpretation, is just like a parent. When you look at the Most High, He has His children. It's just like when your parents have their own children, you have your neighbor's children, whatever, they have their children. So it's like the Most High had His nation, and these are His children, and then all the other nations have their children. The problem is the other nations don't know that they share in the same God, okay? Whereas our nation, we had the God, okay? So now we never had the God who was the imposter lion watching over us. We had the God who was the imposter, the real lion, okay? But of course, they mocked this in the whole concept of the Lion King, and then they showed you that he even coded it with the fact that they knew these things. So, Mbote means good. That's why we say Mbote, good, good, Mbote, Mbote, okay? And of course, in the Philippines, they actually still kind of had that. You can tell they must have been Bantu culture because they changed it to Mabuti. So Mabuti and Mbote have a lot of similarities. That's how I realized. I'm like, wow, that means the Bantus must have been there. And we were on that side of the world, okay? So when you look at this, it's like, oh, you know, and that's why we say Mbote, good, Mbote. Tatanzambi is Mbote. Zambi Mbote, Zambi Mbote, Zambi Mbote, Mbote. It's like Zambi Mbote, Zambi Kwambote, Zambi Kwambote, Zambo Mono. Okay, the Most High is good. I did the songs that I played in the past. Okay, so now Tatanzambi's nTima is good. Always. King Kongo's nTima is good. It is the imposter Lucifer whose heart is bad, okay, but it masquerades like good, okay. So the biggest trick that he started in the world, okay, when it came to what happened with Lilith, she became jealous, okay, especially of Mama Eva, okay. Shaitani, Lucifer, he became jealous of Adama because Tatanzambi, he felt loved this man more than he loves him who was the first angel, Zola. Okay? So when he wanted him to bow down, he's like, but I'm the first angel. Why would I do that? Okay. But it was because Tata nZambi knew that Lucifer's heart was not for him. Because, like we said, no one is good but the Father. So it was a way to show whose side are you on. And this is what Tata nZambi will say to us. And this is why it was, we're going to read Hosea chapter 2 or chapter 1, why the nations think that they're on the good side when they're really on the imposter side, masquerading as the good side, because they don't understand the difference between a good heart and a heart that's bad that masquerades as good. They don't understand the concept of what it really means to be good versus to look like you look good. Okay? And so when we talk about this awakening, okay, the nTima is what starts you to return to the knowledge that the Most High gives. Because anybody can have our knowledge. They have stolen it. Many people can have knowledge. But how, like when Fumu Yusuf said, when I am teaching this knowledge, it is because I want our people to love one another. He said that's why he was getting angry, because he said even the pagans can do love. And just to prove my point, okay, and this is how the pagans have been deceived, the Gentiles. They still, when they were worshiping these false gods, these other gods, like the Egyptian gods, the Canaanite gods, the Japanese gods, all whatever god they were doing, they still loved their own children. They still loved their own family members. They still loved their uncles. You know, they still had love for one another. Okay, but what side? Who were they worshiping with this love? Okay, because like I said, Tata nZambi's law is universal because he is in the creation. The problem is, in order to know how to interact with his creation, you must love him, because then the creation will love you. But if it didn't come from him and it was tainted or it was corrupted, then it will hate you. This is the issue. So the nTima of Tata nZambi, this is what happened to, and I'm going to give you a prime example in the scriptures where you're going to see what I'm talking about. Saula and Davidi. Okay? Intino Saula, when he was rejected by King Kongo, Tata nZambi, he hated Davidi. He wanted to kill him because Tata nZambi picked him to be the king. Okay? And it was like, how dare you? You know, he was angry. Okay? Rather than accepting the fact, and this is the difference, this is how you can tell the difference between Saul's heart. His heart was similar to Cain, because rather than seeing that he messed up and say, oh, Tata nZambi, I'm so sorry, forgive, his heart was what? Not forgiving, but what? Excuses. Oh, you didn't, this and that and this and that. That's exactly how Cain was when he killed Abele. He was giving Tata nZambi excuses. See, like in the other scriptures that talk about the books of Adam and Eve, when Adamo was talking to Insetta, he said, your mother and I were being tricked by Lucifer for worshiping the dead things because our heart, nTima, was not in its right place. Okay? The concept is, in order to have the proper relationship, I had this discussion with a lady today. Of course, they may or may not believe me. I said the reason why the scriptures become confusing to people is because you're with the God of confusion. If you're not with the God of confusion, the scriptures will start to break themselves, unlock themselves to what was changed, what was really said, and what was mean. And then the wonder will take you to the knowledge you need to find and look and search for that complements it, like what happened with Toko that they didn't like. When, and this is the way it goes, and I'm going to prove my point again. Vladimir Putin is an Orthodox Christian. Joe Biden is a Catholic Christian. Why do they fight each other? Whose side is the Most High on? Whose side is Jesus on? You have Christians in America who are against Christians in Russia. Whose side are you on? Whose side is the Most High on? Then you have the cross and the crescent war going on, both taking knowledge from the Tula, and I'll tell you why, and I'm gonna give you a trick. I put this, and it probably blew some people away when I put it on Facebook. Why it's called the law of the land, and in Latin it's called the ley. Law is ley. Okay. In Kikongo, in our language, we pronounce the R like an L. That's why rabbi is lobby. That's why Ra is law. That's why Ray is lay. So that's why when we turn our heart away from King Kongo, similar to Ntino Davidi now. Remember, Ntino Davidi, he loved Tata nZambi at first. And then he said, oh, but Lucifer's better. The devil's always going to play this trick. Okay? And so now, our people don't get it. You can be out here showing people love, like the Gentiles were doing, and still be breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. Because in order to love the Most High, you must obey the Spirit. Which Spirit? The Spirit of Kongo or the Spirit of Lucifer? That's why many people don't even fear Tata Kongo, because they don't even know he exists because of Lucifer. Okay? But now, and this is the reason why many people don't understand when I talked about the woman in the stars. All her crowns stands for each one of the tribes. There's no Gentiles, nations, pagans on that crown. That's one of the reasons why Fumu Yusu said, salvation must come through the people of Abana and Saka Yakubi, not the other way around. But what Lucifer has done, and the people don't get it, is he said, my children are his children, and his children are my children, and they need to be saved. Which is the same thing he did back in the days of Noka, when he tricked Yaledi to think that Kaina's way was better than Tata nZambi's way back then. Okay, same problem. This is what the days of Noka mean, Noah. Okay, As we have learned, Noka means light. Hanoka comes from what they call Enoch. We have learned this from people. Our praises to nZambi. Okay? Zola, to them who reveal these things. But here's the whole thing about Zola and the Lucifer. He's going to always make you, this is exactly, let's go back to the story of our forefathers, the 12, the patriarchs against Yosefyu. Did they love Yosefyu for telling the truth? No. They wanted to kill him. How dare you tell us this and that? And even Isaile, Yakubi said, how can you say this to us? We're going to bow down to you. How can you say that? How dare you say that we're going to bow down to you? But what he was revealing was future, because he was showing them that Tata nZambi was going to judge us. They were given a warning. If we don't steer from this wicked path, the Most High was given a warning in the vision. This is what's going to happen, because your heart, your nTima, is leaning towards Lucifer. Okay? And the other nations were already bewitched by him. Okay? So now, when we go to the scripture that talks about when Paul was talking about Zola, love, okay, we're going to go to, and I'll make sure I keep tabs of this, that it doesn't shut down like it did the last time. That was kind of weird, but it had never done that before. This is why I sang the song Zola not the last time. Is it going? Let me see. Hold on. Did it share it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you see the word umbote, good. Okay. Let me go see if there's an example of it that they're going to put. Ignore the word Jehovah. Beto kele tibokuma mingi ya kusidala Yehowa nakisi. Okay, that's another word. Bakuma mingi kele kusajila. Okay, but they really mean good and bote. Let's see. Okay, here's another one. This is Bingana, which is proverb. That's how you really say proverbs. Bingana. Okay. Vampenza. Ibuna Sala Ngolo. This is Golo power. Sala is the gift. This is actually the name for Sarah. It was Sala. Nakundima Bikalulu Yambote Ya Kwelani Nange Yesonga Yandi Yaona Munoko. Surely, so surely not. So work hard to appreciate the good in your mate and put appreciation into words. This is one of the reasons why, and many people don't even know, our language was designed to always put sambu, prayer, mbote, good, these type of things, where it was giving appreciation for the nTima of Tata nZambi. But what was happening to us is we were being deceitful with it, because we were looking to do harm against our brothers and sisters, the Wakanda, and wanting forgiveness afterwards. You wanted to go commit the sin in your heart. And this is what many people don't get. It's that whole concept is, this is the stupidest thing that they've taught us. Just do it and ask for forgiveness later. That's a pagan way. Okay? The nZambi's like, that's not how we roll. That's not how we do this. Okay? It's like the whole concept is you don't do it, so you don't need to ask for forgiveness later. That's what Kuso Kongo was trying to tell us. No, you don't do it, so you don't have to go for forgiveness later. And this is the hardest part about those of us who are using this misunderstanding of the scriptures to come against those of us who they don't even know they have it wrong, but at the same time, those who know that they are sabotaging and they're doing this while masquerading. Okay? That's why Tata nZambi was saying, when I did this teaching, it says, in the past I talked about, we're supposed to be on the same team, but yet you're tripping me. So it's like when I told you, when we're playing sports, it's like the quarterback going to throw me the pass, and then the receiver comes and tackles me instead of the defense. And it's like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? I'm trying to score, and my own teammate is tackling me. What's that about? Or it's like, if you're running, because I coached a game of football a long time ago, a while back. It's like you have the offensive line and you have the defensive line. It's like the quarterback, he hands off the ball to the running back, and then the offensive line trips him and he falls for the defense. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Why would you tackle me and not the defensive guy? Aren't we supposed to be on the same team? Why would you do that? And you know what would happen is the coach would bench you. You say, wait a minute, what did you do? Go sit down, okay? You have to understand that the Most High is the same way when it comes to his people, okay? It's like, if I sent this person to help me, okay, why would you go and sabotage this person? And talk about, and see, this is the one thing why it was a sin. You know, he talked about the zono, the sin of talking about each other. When he said, bear false witness against your neighbor. Or when he would say, putting your dirty laundry out in the open, you know, like what happened with, this is why we get curses on us, because you're going to be like Caina now, because Canaan and Caina, and that, what did they do? Oh, we put in our father's dirty laundry out in the public. Look, he's drunk. That's what you call condemnation instead of pity. That's why when Yopeta and Yosef and Samuel covered him, he said, I found out what you did. What did you do? You cursed me in my state of weakness. This is how you treat me? Okay? And see, that's what Lucifer will always use, this trick to cause the 12 kingdoms, nZolele, you know, when I put the word tribes, really our word for tribes is Bikanda. That's why when I had this person tell me, oh, it's a magical thing. No, Bikanda means tribes. And Wakanda means family. Okay? That's why the scriptures are called the Nkanda nZambi vum Masono kwa Malongo Kikongo. Because see, we were the builders first. Before even though Kaina went to go build his cities, Tata nZambi showed Nseta how to build the right way. So his way was building was good. Kaina was corrupted. And all the others who came after that, they had sons and daughters, okay, They had a choice to make. Hey, we're going to go with Kaino, we're going to go with Nseta. Okay? That's what the devil don't like. It's like, no, you're going to be on my side. Okay? Because I hate this way. But I'm going to make you think I love it when I can't stand it. But it's because I want to just make you feel the way I felt when Tata nZambi rejected me. Okay, so now you're going to share in my anger. This is what Lucifer is about. Okay, so now the whole concept of when Masa made the Wantete Mamosi, the law, the concept was to make us one with King Kongo, with Tata nZambi. One. Okay? Not to divide. But he said, when they found the people going to worship Baal, and he said, no, this can't be. This is an insult. Okay? This is why you cannot, that's like saying Lucifer saved us from Ingipity. What? No, that can't be. Then go be with Lucifer then. That's why he sent them to hell. Go be with the Lucifer. Okay? Because that's what they were telling Masa. Oh, Satan saved us from Egypt. What? Okay? So now, the biggest issue we have always had as a bloodline is to always think Lucifer is better than Tata nZambi. Let's go to, let's go first of all, let me talk about the Zola, the love. So in Paula says, I may speak in the tongues of, I'm gonna do the Kikongo version. He's gonna say Muntu, Bantu. He didn't say men, but because he was talking, because Bantu makes men and women. That's why you can tell that when Jerome and all the others were more masculine, dominant, okay, that they always use the male. But the word Bantu or Muntu means male and female. And that's why you cannot just, that's how you can tell that they modified this. Okay? I may speak in the tongues of Muntu, Bantu, even Malekis, which angels means brothers, Angelu. Angelu is the Latin for brother. Okay? But if I lack love, Zola, I have become merely blaring brass or a cymbal clanging. So you're just making noise. You may have a lot of, it's like when I'm a teacher, okay? And I've been an educator. If I don't show interest in my students, this is what I used to say, if I'm a teacher, I'm a Malongi. If the people don't embrace me as a teacher, as loving them for who they are, what's going to happen? They don't want to talk to you. They don't respect you. They have nothing. This is the whole concept, even in the schools. How do they always gain the rapport of students? Is to show that they care, right? Okay. The problem is the people who run this world have set them up, but they don't know that. And the people who are in the schools are setting you up, but they don't know that. And see, the problem is now they're catching on. Wait a minute. 120 some years ago, this was all okay. It's a game that was played on them. And see, now it's all, this is why people keep saying, why do you see people losing it? It's because we're in a revolt. Our own people lied to us. Wait a minute. You told us you were on our side, but it's like you're trying to escape, but then somebody jumps on your back and you can't go forward. That's heavier than you to keep you. It's like a slow exit. It's like you're exiting, but you're being pulled back at the same time. And that's what the Sambo was doing to us. He's like, no, we're not going to leave. We're going to keep talking about leaving, but we're not leaving. And you're like, oh, no, we want to get out of here. And this is what many people have been talking about for generations. We want to be done with this. But the Sambo is like, oh, it's like you're dragging your feet. They're dragging their feet. And you're like, okay, what's taking so long? They keep asking them, why is this still going on? What's going on? Okay. Oh, and they have to keep coming up with excuses. Oh, this and this and that and this and this. And then, of course, they're going to start putting blame out here and they're going to start doing this. Not to say it didn't happen to us, that was bad. But some of these things that happened to us was set up. Okay, you're going to find this out. Okay. That's one of the reasons why when I showed, I printed the thing when Toko, he talked about the fact that his biggest enemy when he was teaching the truth were his own people. He said, I had enough of a fight with the colonizers, but then they would go and pay off some of the family members who were following me to go come and they would go and start killing people and putting and lynching them and stuff like that and throw them in the fire. And I'm like, now, if you are teaching the Most High, if you claim to be teaching the Bible, teaching the scriptures, then why would they come and throw you in the fire and kill you? This is how you know our people were not being honest. This is what they used to do to us, though, for the preachers who were doing that over here. They come burn down the church, they would come, whatever. Keep these Negroes in line. You don't even know what that really meant. Keep them in their place meant keep them below Esau. This is what they meant. That's when they say keep them in their place. Keep them below the God of Esau. Not let them go back to the one who's above the God of Esau. Okay, that was the coding behind that. And they had our people working to do that. Okay, we're not going to let them go back. No matter what belief we were in, that was the whole thing. They knew all of these religions are really Lucifer. The people up top, they know that. Shh. Okay? But you can't tell them that. They all think it's different. Okay? That's why when you look at Judaism, our Messiah hasn't come yet. They're waiting on Baal. Okay? Islam, Allah, Muhammad is his prophet, which is really Baal. Okay? And you got Christianity. What they were really preaching is Baal on the cross. Baal's son crucified. And they don't think that they are. Well, that's what's happening today, this month. Because in Fumo-Yisu, the 12th month, first of all, was never December in the Most High's calendar. Even in it was the 12th month after Julius Caesar, who was a pagan, did this. The Most High don't see Tata nZambi. He doesn't tell the pagan, change my ways. No. Change my calendar. There's no way. Just like when people believe he changed Passover Passover to Easter. When did I do that? Who said that was okay? Oh, the Constantine, the Pope. He says he speaks for you. Okay, you want to believe that? I didn't change it. That's why I said that nZambi does not change. Just like when they changed the cross. He never said, okay, whatever, God want to. I didn't say that. Okay? This was the trick. Okay? Because when you talk about the four corners of the earth, and this is what I got from what I read today, which was great information. The dragon, and I'm going to talk about the pillars. Okay? Tata nZambi, he made his world four pillars, the four corners of the earth, the pillars. Okay? Each pillar represents a part of the Most High that you have to have as one, not in separate, but one. Okay? First of all is belief. Second of all is how you govern with that belief. Third of all is how you do business with that belief. And fourth is also how you do healing, restoration. Okay? The whole concept of him telling Tata Adama to not eat the certain fruits was so that he could maintain balance with the creation. Okay? Disobedience brings you out of balance with the creation. Okay? That was the whole concept behind the fall of the wicked one, was to put things out of balance, which is what they want to call order out of chaos, and then put it back in the order he saw fit. Create the chaos, then I'll put it back in the order I like, pretending I'm following the law, statutes, and commandments when I'm really breaking them. Okay? So when Paul is talking, I may have the gift of prophecy. I may fathom all mysteries, know all things, have all faith, even to move mountains. But if I lack love, Zola, I am nothing. But what is he talking about? The love of. You have to have the right heart. This is the deception of the world. Because Lucifer acts like he loves you when he really doesn't. He will go and feed you. Then you tell him, thank you. Pray to him. He will go and give you money so that you will pray to him. He will go and help you get through problems so you will go to him. But then he will then also cause your problems so that you have a reason to go to him for prayer. This is what he did to all the nations and all the pagans since the beginning. But his solution is going to require what? Sacrifice. What are you going to give me? Because he has nothing. He's broke. He was broke. He had to be given things. He is the God of the broke, but he's still rich. How does he get that way? Because the people who are supposed to be good give them over the wealth to him. This is how he gets rich. You do things his way, the Most High going to pay him. That's why they said the wages of sin is death. And that was specifically, and the nations are thinking, oh, well, that applies to the pagans too. It's like, no, you were already doing that. You were already dead. He needed the people who are the living to pay him. He needed to go to the people. That's why he mimics the God of the living. To say, oh yeah, bring, that's why the tithes and offering thing is so distorted. Because that's how the wizard did it. Pay me, and I will give you whatever you want. It's like you're gonna mock in the movie. Okay? That's why Fumu he said about the Wakanda, the family. That's why he told him. He said, go out to the lost sheep. He said, because first of all, Tata nZambi didn't charge me for his knowledge. The Mwanda Venada didn't come and say, this is how you save people. Now I want $1,000. Okay? His family, his Wakanda, the Most High gave him a business. And that's how they took care of things. Fumu could go to the fish to get gold when he needed it. The Maleki would come and give you gold or silver when you're doing the Most High work. you will be lacking in nothing. That's why Tata nZambi said, I pay you to do my work, but you must finish it to receive the reward. It works no different than when you work in a job, okay? Your employer is not going to pay you if the job isn't finished. The employer is going to pay you when the job is done, but they're going to do the mockery of Tata nZambi's way. They're paying you in paper that they're telling you is worth something, and it's worthless. The real worth is us, the Bana Betu, the Bakongo, the Bana Betu. We are the worth. So then our own spirituality brings us wealth as a nation. Because he said, I be laka them that be laka you, bless, and I curse them that curse you. But what the devil did is he got us, people, to bless us and then curse ourselves. This is the trick. So then the nations stay rich, and then we have to beg our way to the top. And this is what happened. The people who wanted to stay in the mentality that they wanted us to keep begging when we're supposed to not be begging like a dog, because that's how Cain is, his lapdog. Cain wants you to be the lapdog, and the donkey head God wants you to be the donkey, the beast of burden, and work your behind off to get what you eat. Tata nZambi was not like that. King Kongo is not that way. See, because when you go back to Cain and Abele, when Abele, his whole flock, everything he had was always in, it was like he had everything taken care of. Cain's heart was not right. So when he would go to sacrifice, he was half-hearted. Most I like, that's not your whole heart. You only give me half a heart. Your nTima is with Lucifer. You got to come to my side. So he got jealous. Okay? So he got jealous. And so because Tata nZambi favored Abele, he killed him. Because that's what the devil wants to do. Oh, no. No, kill this guy. Kill him. Because that's how Shaitani is. Kill them. Because because he told you that. You're jealous. Kill him. Okay? And for that, Tata nZambi, what are you doing? And then he gave him an opportunity to repent. And what did he say? I don't know where he is. Am I my brother's keeper? Mpangi? My Leki? Am I my Leki's keeper, brother? Am I, like, you think I'm an idiot? Okay, you think I'm stupid? You think I don't know what you did? I saw. And that's why in the other scriptures he said, well, you knew I was going to kill him. Why didn't you? He said, hey, you need to watch yourself. Because why? Free will is you have the opportunity to not kill him, but you chose to go that route. Okay? So now you must suffer the consequences because you choose not to repent. And he stayed with an unrepentant heart. That's why the unrepentant heart is affiliated to Lucifer and to him. And of course, the same thing with Lilith and all that. She was like, I'm not going back. I did nothing wrong. I'm not going back. This is how I feel. See, and that's the whole thing about what we have to learn is the heathen Gentiles, they're seeking repentance, okay, like how the scriptures say. But because the Pharisees, Sadducees, scribes, and hypocrites are the one teaching them, who are they confessing their sins to? The God who sins, not the God who takes away sin. The God who brings destruction, not the God who destroys it. But he's going to pretend like he is the one. That's why the world is the way it is. Because you repenting to who? You repenting to Lucifer. Lucifer can't forgive you. That's what happened to us 500 years ago. When we went to Rome, the Most High said, these priests and this Pope are hypocrites. How can they confess? How can they take sin away from you? This Pope is a hypocrite. This priest is a hypocrite. These people are hypocrites. They cannot call you to take away a sin. They've been like this for hundreds of years. The Eastern Orthodox Church, they turn into hypocrites. And for sure, he said Islam is hypocrites. None of these things, Judaism is a hypocrite. What is hypocrisy? Let's really understand this. Hypocrisy is telling me or telling somebody you are on the nTima or the side of the Creator when you're really on the side of Lucifer. Okay? That is deception. How do you know? You know them by their fruit. Meaning, what does their offspring look like? Hypocrites or righteous? Or seeking to be righteous? Okay? With a good heart, trying to do the right things and try to get away from the bad. This is what they took advantage of in this world that you've been born into. Those of us who are looking to do the good things, they want to take advantage of it. Why? Because then you expose the people doing the bad. Wait a minute, this is not right. This was our problem as a nation. For those who wanted to do bad things, they were always afraid of the people who wanted to do good. That was the issue with Yosefu. Their heart wanted to do bad, and Yosefu was like, what are y'all doing out here? You know the Most High is not going to like this. This is where the snitching and tattletaling stuff comes from. Are you snitching on us now to the Most High? You tattletaling on us? It's not about being a snitch. It's not about being a tattletale. It's about you were raised better than this by our father and our grandfather. What are you doing? Okay? And this even goes for myself. I was raised better. What are we doing? But see, that's the whole concept. The enemy wants all of our houses to be split with the heart. He always wants this. Tata nZambi's house, he's like, my house is not split in the Pemba Kalunga. It's all about me, my heart. Okay? Where does it become split at is in the world that was given over to the devil because we let them in. So now we're stuck in the delusion that he has created. So the whole concept of, let me explain how it really works with the raw law. It's like treating you like a dog and treating you like an animal, a horse. basically. That's why they lock you up in cages when you go to jail. Okay? The concept of a dog is when dogs obey their master, they get rewarded. You stay in obedience more and more, you get more and more rewards. You start doing bad things, you get a little bit of a scolding. And then if you do something really bad, you go to the kennel against your master. But he's laughing because he's a hypocrite. Okay? If you do something really bad to the other dogs, they put you down. Oh, so the concept of what you see with dogs is the same concept they apply to people. You don't even know this in Lucifer's world. The same thing that they apply to a horse, they apply to people. Okay? When they themselves are crooked masters, looking to always stay rich off of their what? Booty, bounty, what they have taken. The whole concept, is there any honor amongst thieves? No. There are guidelines, parlay. It's more like guidelines, boy. Okay, do you think that they don't do this in the secret societies? They still following the pirate code. You don't even get it. Okay? And the pirate code comes from Lucifer. Now, that's the concept between the nTima of the pirate and the nTima of the Most High. The nTima of the Most High is not stingy when it comes to how he wants to share it with his children. Everybody's the same. As long as what? You choose what side you're on. You can't expect him to give you help if your heart is against your brothers and sisters, but for. And you cannot expect him to give you help if you are causing people to stumble. Oh, but the devil will pay you though. He'll give you whatever you want. This is how he plays the game. Okay? Let me finish the scripture here, and I'll go to the Kikongo. I may give away everything that I own. I may even hand over my body to be burned. Yep. Happens. But if I lack love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and kind, not jealous, not boastful, not proud, rude, or selfish, not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrongs. See, Kuso Kongo, Fumu he don't want to sit there and count all the bad things you do to the Most High. He really doesn't. But it is the job of the archangel. He has a job. He has to record sins, and because you have to be expunged, like going to court. Okay, you have to have a record. You have what they call it, the rap sheet. The whole concept. This is the mockery. You want the rap sheet to be expunged, all of your sins forgotten. Okay, the rap sheet is what the things you've done against the Manda, against the law, statutes and commandments of Tata nZambi. Okay, but The love of the Most High, the love of the nTima, to love him means forgiveness. That's why you have no, it's like when I start to love the Most High in his way, then it's like now the wrongs are not being recorded as much because he understands we're learning. It's just like I said, one time I did something and my father said, well, I didn't know about it, so I'm gonna act like it didn't happen. Okay. Now, of course, Tata nZambi, he knows everything, but sometimes he'll say, I'm not, I'm gonna bypass that one. It helps to have that happen. And it doesn't happen very often, as often as you like, but I'm just saying, okay? That's what you want. Love does not gloat over other people's sins, but it takes delight in the truth. Okay? Now, this is not deceptive of any way by means, but now see, of course, the Gentiles, they use this to their advantage. Okay? For Bantu people, for the Kongo people, Bana nZambi, it's talking about you don't want to hold grudges against your people. It's like, yeah, I know there's people doing bad things to me in the spiritual world who happen to come from a Bana Saka Yokubi, but it's like this is sad for me because it's like, what are you doing? Do you not know what you do? Do you not understand? You're not benefiting from this. It looks like you're benefiting now, but you're not benefiting later. Okay? You want to wish that you could kill me and destroy me or whatever. Okay, that's what am I supposed to? You have to understand something. It's like you're not just you're not hurting me, you're hurting yourself. And the relationship that you want to have to gain peace with the Father. So if you're looking to sabotage me on behalf of the enemy because you work for him, what do you gain? You're going to gain what he got. Okay? You're going where he went. You're going where they go. Okay? So it's like all of the riches in the world, you're not going to have it when you die. It's gone. You think it's like when I say people right now, like, I'm a multi-billionaire. Yeah, but once you die, that's it. You ain't going to have that. And that next phase, you got to go through all of the stuff that you did. Shoot, boy. I'm just saying, okay? And they say, oh, this is a concept that was invented by, and I said, no. The Christians learned this from the Bana Betu, the Bantwe about Kadi and Pemba versus Kadi and nZambi. That's what I'm saying. The Kadi and Pemba is Lucifer's heart. Kadi and nZambi is Tata nZambi's heart. They learned that from us, but they doing it wrong because they're not supposed to be teaching the way. That's why they're teaching it like a hypocrite. This is why they always drinking milk and the meat is tainted. See, if you have a vindictive soul or a heart that is, or a mentality that is messed up, as you're giving people meat, bones are coming with it. And the Mwanda is like, no. See, you got to spit out those bones. Not all of this is good. See, if you're one of the people that comes teaching people bones with the meat, what's going to happen to you is that nZambi going to say you are trying to inflict poison with these bones. You are trying to give people tainted milk and poison the water that's supposed to be cleansing you. See? And that's what you don't want to have happen with him, is intentional sabotage. And I told people, I said, I know there's a reason why when Mayamono was explaining the image of the Fumu Yisu to his people, I was like, okay, I can see what happened here. Because, like I told you, when Kuso Kongo said, be very careful of who you call Messiah or who you think is me, okay? There are many people out here that the sorcerer can change into anybody. It don't got nothing to do with black, white, Asian, nothing. Whatever you believe, he will become. That's what Lucifer does, to trick you to stay away from the truth. He will become whatever you want so you don't talk to the Tata nZambi, or you get rejected by Tata nZambi, like what happened with nTima Sola, like what happened with Solomon, like what happened with Ahab and Jezebel. It's like all that stuff. All of those people. It's like, what were you thinking? Okay? He wants you to act like the Pharisees and the Sadducees out here and how they do things. That's why they are teaching people backwards. Let's go to the Kikongo. Let me see, how far did I go in the other scripture? I went down to verse 7. I'll go down to verse 7. Vo ivonvanga mo tudimi twabantu. Ye, see, Bantu. Ye, twazim basi. That's the angel. Mbasi. Kansi in Kondolo. Zola, if I don't have love. Buna ingeka and Songo. Inanganga ye Simbala Kiwunganga. He's a priest. Ganga means priest. I'm a noisy priest. Vomona Ningena ye Mbikulu Kudulu ye Nzei Mansweki Mamonsono ya Nzailu ya Yonsono Evo Ingena Minu Kionsono Mpasi Yavilula Miongo Kanzi Kondolo Zola Buna Mono Kalekwako. So once again, what did verse 2 say? I am nothing if I give the gift of prophecy, which is what Kanzi, Bakonzi. Okay. Vo ikambanga mbombo zami zanzosono mundikila ye eyakulanga ntu amikidi yayokwa kanzi unkodulu zola buna kotimusu manga bonti nituko zola kwena mumba ntima zola ntima, see, heart ntima zola, heart of love, kwena Lembami zola ka kuyandukanga mesoko ka kutanga mayama ko ka kuku kitu mpidikanga ko ka kukandilanga bwansini ko ka kutombanga kuyandi ko ka kufwemanga ko ka kutanganga yayibiako ka ku yangangalanga lalanga mukondwa lulunguko kanzi kuyangalanga langa ye kedika. See, I'm still learning to speak this language, I'm not fluent by any means. Kufunganga mamonsono kweli kulanga mamonsono minu kusanga vuvu mo mamonsono Kuta la mananga mu mamonsono. So now, the whole concept that I'm coming with is taking advantage of those that are working to become like the Most High Spirit is always going to be in your, it's going to go against you, honestly, because this is exactly what continues to happen to us when we don't ask that nZambi and seek him to validate what we hear, what we see, what they do, what's going on around us. See, if prayer doesn't matter, it doesn't work the way you expect, okay, if your heart is wrong. It's like, that's why he's like, the heart is what activates the law. The law is what, the wantete. The wantete is what activates, the nTima activates the wantete. You have to be spiritually connected in the nTima. Okay? A lot of knowledge has been brought out in this awakening that many people didn't know. But the one thing we always seem to forget is this. Tata nZambi can teach anybody whatever he wants when he chooses to give it to them. And the problem is, rather than seeing it as, oh wow, the Most High has found favor with this person, we get angry, we get upset. Why did you get him this? Why didn't he this? It causes jealousy. And see, that's why Lucifer tricks so many people. Because rather than accepting what the Most High has done, you're going to ask him, why did you do that? Well, what do you mean? I am the Father. And the one of Allah is my choice. What do you mean, why did I do that? Because see, from the foundation of the earth, he had already made these decisions. Going forward, we're just catching up to what he did. You just have to be prepared and be ready for when the time comes, when it's your time. And not be extinguished before it happens. And see, that's the whole concept is, Kintwari means you don't take your brother back into Egypt through your anger and hatred, like you do with Yosef. They wanted to sell him. They wanted to get rid of him. They wanted to do whatever. That's how the Kariam Pemba has gotten the Muntu, the Bana Betu nZolele, to think like that. I will sell my brother for the shoes at the store if I have to. I will do this to get this. I will do that to get this. When you get like that, okay, now your heart is nowhere near. And many people in these churches out here, that's exactly, when I watched and I saw the people talking about the 10% and all that, I'm like, this church is corrupted. It is the harlot. The harlot burned down the storehouse of King Kongo, Tata nZambi, and Fumuyabe. Burned it down. You are getting to the pastor who is handing it to Esau. And then Esau gives him, okay, this is your good work. Okay, I'll give you this. Like, how much work you put in? And he's going to make it look good. Put on a show. Make it look good. Because what did the Fumu used to say? Let not your what? Don't be, you're not doing this in the open so that others will see, oh yeah, Do you know the whole reward system we're living in is exactly that way? That they have conditioned you to be out in the open instead of being in secret with the Father? This is why they do the trophies and stuff. This is the real reason behind it. Because Tata nZambi, it's a mockery to King Kongo saying, lay your treasures in the kingdom and go in secret and do your work, and your Father will reward you. Between you and the Father is what this should be. And that's part of the reason why we curse ourselves without even realizing it. We get sick, think bad things happen to us, and we say, well, why did that happen? I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do wrong? And you don't get it. Lucifer is always the showman, and he want to always put up his trophies everywhere of how he robs Tata nZambi, King Kongo. That's why Tata nZambi said, oh, you're going to see what I'm going to do to show you how I beat you. Okay? Because the concept is he's going to embarrass all of the people who think that the devil's going to defeat him, and those who are tricked into thinking they're not working for him. You're going to embarrass people. Watch, I'm going to show you. This is why it's so frustrating for many people when they get angry, because they're embarrassed now, because it's like, how could I be so stupid? How did I not see this? It's an embarrassment to me to know that I was tricked into worshiping the Baal and not the Most High, and I didn't know it. So it makes you frustrated. It makes you embarrassed. And then there are people who are saying, oh, no. You are lying. And my pastor and my this and my, I'm like, all you got to do is ask your question, one question to the pastor. And I guarantee you they will make you leave the church. Or even the mosque, or wherever you worship. Ask them this question. Ask them this one question. How do you control the creation exactly like when the creation was created? What power do I use? And I'm going to tell you. What spirit is that? What spirit do I need to talk to for that? They will never give you the right answer. They can't. They can't tell you who that spirit is, really. The name of it. Whose spirit was that? They're going to give you some kind of fake answer, because you're going to know it doesn't work when you start calling upon them these different things and it doesn't happen the way you want. It's not instantaneous. Okay? This is the revelation of Kepha. It was 300 years after the completion of the covenant of the 10th column. The Mfumu sat in the temple, being completely fulfilled with the eternal nature of the Supreme Being. He told me, Kepha, I'm not using the Pata word, Bilaka are those who serve the Mfumu, for they are greater than the heavens. Through me, he revealed life to those who live here. Boom! I don't know how many times I have to tell people, if you serve the Most High in spirit and in truth, you are greater than the heavens. meaning you control the Maleki Kongo. They don't control you. Remember, they bowed down to Adama, not the other way around. Maleki Kongos, like even Makai and nZambi, bowed down before Adama. Lucifer did not. This is how you know what angel you're working with and who's talking to you. Makai and nZambi will bow down to the Muntu that serves Tata nZambi through Yesaya. All of them will, when he raises you above the heavens. Kuswa Kongo can do that. He chooses you to be a Abafundi, to be a prop, whatever, he raises you up. That's why he even said in the scripture, those who teach my sheep to obey my Father's law, you will go higher. Those who teach my sheep to disobey my Father's law, you will go lower. He's not lying about that. Then I advise those who have a strong foundation to hear my teachings, Malongi, regarding the difference between devotion and the negligence of Scripture. Watch. This arises from the pinnacle of teachings that maintain the absolute truth. So then you have, okay, like I told you, Shaitani will give you truth with a lie. The Lucifer, Tata nZambi will teach you the truth. Absolutely. Those people were enlightened by the kindness of one who was hunted down by the institutions. They didn't find him, nor was he mentioned among any of the lineages of the prophets. He then appeared among the like-minded people as those servant of humanity greatly exalted in the heavens. How do you do this? Your mind, this is why it talks about, and this is even for me, this is why the scripture says a double-minded person is unstable in all of their ways. So how does it work? You must think like Tata nZambi and have the nTima like Tata nZambi to be affiliated with those who are like-minded and in servitude. Do you want to know how many people are really like that now? Oh, not very many. You're going to find out. Yet you, Kepha, have become perfect on account of your relationship with me. How do you become perfect? Oh, people, I'm telling you, this is how you know that Christianity is deceived. I'm not perfect. I'm not God. I'm not this. Whew. The Pharisees, Sadducees, scribes, and hypocrites are deceiving the world about Yesaya, about Tata nZambi, about the Most High. Your relationship with Mayamona, the one who can see, and also Kimbangu, the revealer of secrets, because they were both one and the same. And Fumu was both. Okay? He was Mayamona and Kimbangu at the same time. Okay? He was a prophet, an Abi, and he was also Gangan nZambi, priest. That's why he merged Masa and Elia to himself. Because he was them when they were here. He was them. People don't understand. The spirit was already there. In the beginning was the Ngogo, Yesaya. And the word became, and he was also the Yalam Kuvu, okay? That's why he can let you think whatever you want. You think that's him? You think that's me? Go right ahead. Those people are not perfect. They have sinned against the Most High. Mayamona himself said, that is not, I am not him. Simon Toko said, I work for him. And the spirit that came into him was helping him. He even said, this is how I look like this, he looked like that. We're not the same. But he is using me to put everything back in order. But they keep fighting him and the spirit to get it back the way it should be. That's why he said, I didn't finish, more will come and finish it. You have to go back to how it was in Mbanza Congo and in the beginning, before all of the Roman garbage, the Greco-Roman garbage messed it up. The Greeks are not talking to the real creator. They got all the images up there all they want, but they cannot run the church. The images that's in their churches have to run the church. The Eastern Orthodox, they have the images that are right. Go look at yourself. Those people got to run the church. Okay? Unless you come from a Bana Saka Yakubi, you cannot run the church. They lie. Esau cannot run. A Gentile cannot be above the 12 tribes. No. You have been deceived. And now, those who have said they are the 12 tribes, they themselves are supposed to be below them. That's why they won't do it. They're like, hey, I'm not changing my spot. That's why Kusa Kongo said, I will make them. They got no choice. Watch, it's going to happen. That's why they keep ignoring this whole thing like, oh, no, ain't going to happen, bro. We got this. We going to whoop y'all. Okay. Have it your way. It's like, have it your way. You think you're going to, like King Kongo's like, have it your way. You guys think you got this? Have it your way. You're going to find out. We tried. That's all we can do. We try to tell you. This is like how it was like in the days of Noka. We try to tell you, oh, no, you stupid people. Ha, ha, ha. Laughing. Okay. That's exactly how it was back then. They were like, ha, 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 ha. You people are stupid. Ha, ha. Okay. Therefore, be strong until the semblance of devotion. Therefore, be strong until the semblance of devotion to the infumu, to the of devotion and spirit and truth and power and knowledge. Okay, this is how you really would have probably talked about it. This is what the Mon is saying. It'd be like, therefore, be strong unto the semblance of devotion of the one that you're trying to be like, by the one who initially called you. This is why it talks about the fact that many are called and few are chosen. Why? Because the ones who are chosen have to constantly practice and constantly work on and constantly get better in order to reach that level. It isn't going to just come like that. No, as I have now learned. At the same time, when you receive it, do not become a worker of iniquity. Don't switch sides. Because the persecution happened to the flesh. Okay. He called you to come to know him in a practical way. So, who's calling us? Who's calling us? King Kongo, Fumu Yahweh is calling us. That's why Kusa Kongo said, pray to your father that he will send workers into the vineyard. Did he say pray to me? No, he said pray to the father. And see, people have been given this delusion that, oh, the workers only have to be in one place. When? Why? Where does it say that? When did the Most High say that? That's what I'm trying to tell people. You're going to be in for a rude awakening for some people out here. Because he sent workers everywhere where we are scattered for a reason. You're going to see. There's a reason why he called certain people, and it's like there are those out here making the choices that, oh, this person shouldn't be teaching, this person should be teaching this and this and that. This person, and I'm not talking about any one individual. I'm talking about as a whole. It's like, oh, he's not this, and it's like, but the Most High, he said, you don't even need to speak. I will speak for you. This is what happens most of the time when I'm teaching. I'm like, I'm not the one speaking. The one that's speaking for me to say, look, you don't know why this person is here. Tata nZambi does. And the devil understands why the person is there. You may not catch it, but the devil knows exactly why this person was called by the Most High. So his job is to make you hate the people that the Most High calls to work for him. So that what does that do? Interferes with the process of unification. And that's what he has used many of his agents for even today in this awakening. You think you're staring at somebody who's a friend of yours. And this person is telling you, no, this guy is this and this and this. Saying whatever they want to hear you say. Because they know if it triggers people, oh, yeah, I'm going to get on this guy for that. That's why I said be careful who told you something. A lot of the times, the way the devil, Lucifer, got the Most High's children to turn on each other is to make it up. Make it up. Didn't even happen. I found out you was talking to the... What? Who told you that? What are you talking about? I didn't do any of this. Who are you talking to? That's the biggest way Lucifer destroys the Bana Betu of nZolele's ability is he uses his agents to come up with a script. This is what you got to tell this person. This is what you got to tell that person. This is what you got to say to them. And this person is reading, and they act it out and they plan it. They always do this. You got to make it look good. Just like when they're actors. You got to act it out. You can't let them know that you know that we're doing this. You have to, and we will, and then he says, I will give the distraction so they won't see you coming in. So then he goes, I'm going to create the distraction over here, and the person went in the back door. You didn't even notice that now you have someone that shouldn't be there. Because now your attention is on the wrong thing. I have seen it, boy. It's crazy how I have seen the bait and switch done so many times. That's why many Christians don't even know that they're under the bait and switch. That's why so many Bantu people, Tata Kongo, Bana nZambi, nZolele, they don't even know that they're under the bait and switch. Because this is how it goes. Because the persecution happened to the flesh of his hands and feet, and the crown of those in the material world against the radiance of his being, which they delivered for the reward of honor, as they admonished you 3 times that night. So like he said, he's talking to him after he's coming back. This is after he's already been crucified. Okay? Their trophy is our defeat. So when it comes to the Bana Betu of nZolele, the Bayuda, the Bakongo people, they love it when we reject our truth for their lie every day, all the time. And the people who are teaching in the Bible studies and who are teaching in the classes or whatever, they may not even be aware that they're doing anything wrong. It's the people who sent them that are sitting there laughing their behinds off when they see us involved in these ministries, and they're laughing like they're snickering. You know that snicker? You don't know what you're doing. They're snickering. Why? Because they know you're feeding the sheep wrong. You're in cahoots with them. And they're snickering behind closed doors. These idiots don't know what they're doing. And that's what they say. They said these idiots have no clue what's really going on up here. That's why they have to keep it a secret. And they have to keep everything guarded, and they can't tell you what's really going on, who they're really working for and what's really going on. It's all part of the show. Okay? Then he told me, Keppa, I have said this to you many times that they are blind and have no guidance. Correct. I'm sorry. I said, then it said, I saw the priest, the priest, the Kohanim for us, the nZambi for us. And the people running towards us with stones as if they were going to kill us. I feared we were going to die. See, and that's how it goes. When you start actually teaching people the right way, they're going to want to stone you. They're going to want to kill you. They don't want you there, but they got to masquerade. Like oh yeah, we want to stone you to death, but we're going to be your buddy. Okay? I've seen, I mean, this is crazy. When I've seen stuff like this, I'm like, wow, what is wrong with us? You really want to stone me because you love your master's God this much? It's like, oh my God, I don't understand. You enjoy the success, and well, I was eating like a rat and a dog, and I was hungry, and I made it out, and this person helped me to become, yeah, but that's the trick. That's Lucifer's biggest lie. He made you poor and then made you rich and then told you the real creator is the one who did it. When in the reality, this is how they keep their lie going. Always. They made it up. They caused it. They caused the chaos so that they can make you look like they brought the order. They have done this, I don't know how many times throughout history. They play you for a fool. They created the problem. The fallen angels created the problem, and then they made you look like they took care of you. Oh yeah, my life is so much better, when they're the ones behind the scenes that caused it in the first place. This is how the good God, bad cop. This is where the whole good cop, bad cop came from. It came from Lucifer. I'm the good angel. Now I'm the bad angel. I'm the good God. Now I'm the bad God. Man, how do you think it worked between Zeus and Hades? That's exactly what he did. Zeus is like, I'm up here cooling and chilling. Hades is like, I'm bad. Well, they were both Lucifer. Hades and Zeus were the same. He's doing it again. He said, I'm the God of Abraham, and I'm the devil. He's doing it again. Pretending to be the Most High, and then I'm the devil. Same garbage like he did back in the Roman times with Jupiter and what was the other guy? I think it was still Hades. No, Mars. It's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you people don't get it. He's doing it again. And then he's saying, oh, planets and stuff. It's annoying. That's why when I watched this movie, they talked about the village idiot. I said, so this means they brought all the village idiots over They talk. That must have been what they're doing. They like all of these village idiots. Take them on the boat. I'm like, this had to be the way they had to do it. Because I said, how can they not see? They took all the village idiots. And I'm not saying all the village idiots, but then the dumbed down masses too that were already believing. So that's why I said, when I talked about how King Charles I outlawed Christmas and Easter, it got reinstated when America became a country. Our founding fathers brought him back. I said, the colonizers didn't celebrate either one that way. They lied to you, just like when they changed the times and seasons. All right, I'm gonna end it there because it's kind of long, but you know, this is one of the reasons why it's very important to really see the heart. It's like people always want to look at what is. That's why Mfumu Yusuf got upset about Malia Makongo. He said, all you see is how bad she was. You didn't see her heart. That's all you saw, is how bad she was and the negative things that they did. You didn't see the heart of the person. Okay? Because Tata nZambi's like, all you see is what this person is doing right and wrong, but you didn't look at the heart. And that's going to be the downfall of so many people. That's why I don't go after people. I know there are people who have jacked up hearts because of what they did to us. And I hope and pray that our people will turn their hearts back to Tata nZambi and come out of this wickedness that they keep being made against and quit being ignorant. Yeah, an ignorant heart can be happy and be blissful and loving and whatever, but you have no knowledge up here. All you're doing is going off of what people are telling you. You're a robot, repeating everything they say. Oh, I know this. Oh, God so loved the world, blah, 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 blah. That's why they make you memorize verses. The Holy Spirit can't operate if you believe everything is said is true. The Holy Spirit, the Most High is like, if you think all of this is true and what they're telling you is true, I can't help you. I can't help you. Because they did this for a reason. It's just like when you go into the military. They make you repeat. They did the same thing in the church. They did the same thing in the businesses. They did it everywhere. Repetition. It's applied everywhere. So that the 4 pillars that I talked about, they're split apart, but you think they're one. That's why I said you should be able to do all 4 things with the Holy Spirit. You will have your answers. But they tricked us to thinking that theirs was better when they had it all spread apart. And they worked on that. The religious persecution, it was intentional. You don't even know. It was intentional. The religious persecution was intentional. The devil did it on purpose. So that people would feel the need to split apart again. So that when we got in their realms, we wouldn't know the truth anymore. They split it up on purpose. The denominations, they split it up so that our truth was separated among the different denominations. We have our 9, they have their 9. That's why when Nimrod, I was going to read this I'm going to read this next scripture I got. It's called let me do it real quick. So I got 2 hours. Sorry. It's called I was looking up something, and it's called let's see, where is it? called Legends of the Old Testament Characters. And this is another book. It's by Sabine Baron Gould. This is not anything to do with the other person, Goonsberg. What do you call him? The other person. I'm going to show you how Bana was really struggling with Nimrod. And this is what we're going through right now. They don't have this in the Bible. Chapter 23 of the Legends of the Old Testament Characters. Abana or Abana, he was first called Abba, and then he became Abana, not Abram, Abraham, because that's, I told you, that's Brahma. Was the son of Tela. Now, watch this. General of Nimrod's army. Whoa, bet you didn't know that one. Many people probably didn't. And Amtilai, daughter of Carnebo. He was born at Ur of the Chaldees in the year, now let's say 1948 years after the creation. So after the Most High rests, they're claiming that this is when Abana was born. Does it be accurate? I don't know. We have to do an investigation with nZambi on that one. I don't believe that's completely accurate because they're going by the fact that they don't go by, they go by the other clock. Because they don't recognize the Messiah. So I'm pretty sure it's probably longer than that. On the night of which Abana was born, Tela, friends, amongst them whom were counselors and soothsayers of Nimrod. Now remember, I told you the wizards were already there. And they didn't go, they still think they still don't do their stuff. Were feasting in the house. On leaving late at night, they observed an unusual star in the east. Why does this sound like a similar story? It seemed to run from one quarter of the heavens to another, and to devour 4 stars which were there. All gazed in astonishment on this wondrous sight. Truly, they said, this can signify nothing else but that Tela's newborn son will become great and powerful and will conquer the whole realm and dethrone great princes and seize on their possessions. Do you think that might have happened when Fumu Yusu came into the picture too? And that's probably why we named the Prince Herod said, who's being born? Next morning, they hastened to the king to announce to him what they had seen and what was their interpretation of the vision, and advised the slaughter of the young child, and that Tela should be compensated with liberal sum of money. Now, why do you think that the Romans, contrary to what they're telling the real truth about, assisted Herod to go after Uzziah? Do you see who? Because Nimrod, I told you, the Sanhedrin and the king of the Bana Betu at that time was the spirit of Nimrod. That's why King Herod wanted to kill Uzziah. Repeat. People don't understand. Then you see now you see the same spirit fell upon Saul who wanted to kill Davidi. That's why you got to be careful. Like the Tata Kongo said, if you want to kill your brother in spirit, then you're no different than Cain. Okay? See here? I'll pay you to kill this guy. Sound familiar? To see the story how it plays out? And they think it come from... This is how this story was how they took it to Egypt when Tammuz was the... Don't even go there. All right, because remember, Tammuz wasn't born yet, because Tammuz came after Nimrod died. Nimrod accordingly sent gold and silver to Tela and asked his sons to exchange, but Tela refused. So Tata nZambi made sure he didn't do it. See, the Most High can do that. Then the king sent and threatened to burn down and utterly destroy the whole house of Tela. Remember, he's the general, unless the child would surrender. In the meantime, one of the female slaves had born a son. Where did you see this story play out? How did Tata nZambi save Massa when he was in the house of the Pharaoh? Do you see the different ways Tata nZambi hides you from? Like when people say, I was hidden from the enemy. The Most High can do anything to hide. He hid Noka away from Cain. Same way. Okay? And one of the female slaves had born a son. Tela gave to the royal officers, who, supposing it to be the son of the householder, brought it to Nimrod and slew it. Then, to secure Abana, Tela concealed him and his mother and nurse in a cave. Why does this sound familiar? Where was Isaiah really born? And why did they tell his mother to go and run and hide and get away from Herod at the time? And then they mix this story up with the born in the manger story for Tammuz's mother. The reason why Tammuz's mother was running, because they said Nimrod is not a god. Who is this? Okay. No, I'm going to bring a god back. Okay. And then she told her story about how she was born with the pig god. All right. So then Abana, I don't know where this thing is. Hold on. I need to get this thing off. But there is another version of the story, and it is as follows. Nimrod had long read in the stars that a child would be born and who would oppose his power and his religion and would finally overcome both. Acting in the advice of his wise men, does it sound like they might have used this story in the scriptures? He built a house 60 ells high and 80 ells broad, which all pregnant women he brought to be delivered, and the nurses were instructed to put to death all the boys that were born. Wow. Here we go. Same type of stuff about how they want to kill the bounty people, right? Did you not see this happen in slavery? They're throwing us to the alligator. What? Okay. Okay. And make handsome present. Why do you think Toko told the same story? Remember when Toko was being born? They were looking for, like, where is this guy at? They were looking for him too, you know. After 70,000, let's see, now watch this. And mothers were brought to bed, and after 70,000 male children had done 70,000 children. You think, now you see why Tata nZambi was like this? Whoa. You know, 70,000 male children had thus perished. The Maliki of the Zulu turned to the Almighty and besought him with tears to stay this cruel murder of innocents. What Maliki you think that might have been? Micaiah? Gablia? Uriah? Which one? I slumber not, I sleep not, Tata nZambi answered. Ye shall see that this atrocity shall not pass unpunished. Why am I reading this to you? You think that Tata nZambi don't see what Nimrod and Cain and the spirits and the fallen angels are doing now? You think that he don't see? It's been 74 plus years since Toko took over when I gave you the thing, and then they went and they killed his followers, and you know that it was done by the Portuguese and other people. That I was like, that nZambi doesn't sleep. You think that he don't see, okay? Shortly after, Tula's wife was pregnant. She concealed the situation as long as possible, pretending that she was ill. But when she could conceal it no more, the infant crept away behind her breast, so as that she appeared to be every eye as if nothing were about to take place. When the time came for her delivery, she went in fear out of the city and wandered into the desert till she lighted on a cave to which she entered. And this is where Tata Kongo was going to the holy places when he was learning to teach. What cave? Man, people are telling you, they're all connected. Next morning she delivered a son, Bana, whose face shone so that her grotto was as light as though the sun was casting a golden beam into it. So he was born with great light. She wrapped the child in a mantle and left it there to be custody of Tata nZambi's Malekis and returned home. The Maleki Kongo took care of Abana after he was born. Do you see? Do you understand why they don't teach this to the Gentiles, to the heathen? I keep telling people, I already know the history of the things that they tried to do to trick me from being able to do what I'm doing today. And the Maleki Kongo always were able to what? Get me back on track to do my job, even in the attempts to destroy me. You have no idea. All right. And I know the same Maliki gonna mention, he know. She wrapped the child and I sent his Maliki Gablia to the end cave. Funny how he seems to be popping up in everybody's belief, right, Gabriel? To the cave, who let the child suck milk out of his forefinger. You can get milk from the Maleki. I don't tell people they lie. But according to another account, he opened 2 holes in the cave from which dropped off oil to flour to nourish Abana. Other accounts say that Terah visited the cave every day and nursed and fed the child. I'm really going to say, just on the fact that I know Micaiah came and gave wine to Isaka when Isaiah was given, that he did the milk. Because I know they do the same thing with the holy cow, by the way. They can do the sorcery with that. Seen that. According to the Arab tradition, which follows the Bayuda, the mother on visiting the cave found the infant sucking its 2 thumbs. Now, out of one of the thumbs flowed milk, and out of the other honey. And the baby nourished itself. I take you to the land of milk and honey. I'm pretty sure it's close. We probably taught them that, not who you think. When Abana had been in the cave, according to some 3 years, according to others 10, according to others 13, he left the cavern and stood in the face of the desert. And when he saw the sun shining in all his glory, he was filled with wonder and said, "Surely the sun is God the Creator." And he knelt down and worshipped the sun. Now watch this. This is how you know it's wrong. But when evening came, the sun went down, and Abana said, "No, the author of creation cannot set." Now the moon arose in the east, and the stars looked out of the firmament. And then said Abana, the moon must indeed be God, and all the stars are his hosts. And kneeling down, he adored the moon. But after some hours of darkness, the moon set, And from the east appeared once more the bright face of the sun. Oh, they cross each other. I tell you, there's an angel for the eclipse, people. They lying to you. Then says Abana, verily these heavenly bodies are no gods, for they obey law. I will worship him who imposed the law upon them. So now, what many people don't know is Lucifer switched this back. You think you're talking to the Son of God when you're talking to the Sun God and the Moon God. Okay? An Arab story, when Abana came out of the cave, he saw a number of flocks and herds and said to her mother, who is Lord of these? She answered, your father Azza, Terah, Azza, Terah, Tela, and Tela, I tell you, Azza, see? And who is the Lord of Azza? He further asked, she replied, Nimrod. And who is the Lord of Nimrod? Oh, hush, my son. She said, strike him in the mouth. You must not push your questions so far. You see what this is why I told people to no longer, you're supposed to look like you're talking to the God of Abana Sakin UQB, but not really. That's why they want to punish us who are now teaching you to no longer talk to the real God of Nimrod, which was the King Kongo, Tata nZambi, not Amun Ra or Anu. And go sit down somewhere. People have been lying. But it was following the train of this thought, Abana arrived at the knowledge of the true Ufumu. Another rabbinical story is that Abana was only 10 days in the cave after his birth, and then he was able to walk and he left it. But his mother, who visited the grotto, found him gone and was prey to anguish. Wandering along the bank of the river, searching for her child, she met Abana, but did not recognize him as he had grown tall. And she asked him if he had seen a little baby anywhere. I am whom you speak, answered Abana. Is this possible? Could you grow such a height and be able to walk and talk in 10 days? Yes, mother, answered the youthful prodigy. All this has taken place that you might know that there is but one living and true Mfumu who made heaven and earth, who dwells in the heaven and fills the earth with his goodness. What? Asked Amatala. Is another God besides? Is there another God besides Nimrod? So see, I'm trying to tell people that nZambi, nothing is possible with people, but anything is possible with King Kong with Tata nZambi, because he wanted to demonstrate, and that's what he's doing now. He wants the world to understand you have the wrong God. You think you serve the one who did, because Satan can do miracles too. We call them lying signs and wonders. He said, now I'm going to show you the one who's more powerful than the dog god, because Nimrod was Cain. Okay? By all means, replied the infant, there is a God in heaven, who is also the God who made Nimrod. Now go to Nimrod and announce this to him. Abana's mother related all this to her husband, who bore the message to the king. Alarm consulted his counsel that was done with the boy. The counsel replied that he had nothing to fear from the infant of 10 days, he and the king and the God of the world. But Nimrod was not satisfied. Then Satan, putting on a black robe, mingled with the advisors of the monarch and said, let the king open his arsenal, arm all his troops, and march against this precocious infant. Do you now understand? Lucifer, knowing what's going on, said, I will send an army against a child to destroy him. Do you think that's not what he always wants to do to us and his descendants all the time? That's why when I look and say Tata nZambi's army, you don't even know. This is how far the devil will take it to destroy Mayamona, an entire army to destroy Mayamona. You saw he did it again in the 1900s. You don't even know they covered it up. The whole thing of 1900s was to destroy Simonto. You think that those people were on opposite sides? They deceive you. The devil will blow up the whole world to stop one Mayamona. You don't, and he'll send as many agents, he'll send as many people as he can to stop one Mayamona, one Messiah. And you think you're serving the real one? Oh. You become like him, he's going to send the army after you. This is what I keep trying to tell people. You don't get it. All right, let me put the song on, and I'll end this. I went way too long, I'm sorry. Let me get the music here. I have to turn it pretty loud. This was not this long. Yeah, so that proves to you the devil is trying to send an army against all of us who are trying to go back to Tata nZambi, Pungu, and Spirit and the Truth. That's why he infiltrated in so many ways you don't even know. That he will make us hate each other because he don't want to see not one person be able to defeat him. Not one. But of course, in his masquerade, people couldn't know. So he's going to always do this. He's going to do anything and everything possible until the Most High, he can't do it no more. Remember, Tata nZambi, King Kongo, don't sleep. No kulala for him. Sleeping. He sees it all. He said, oh, believe me, I know it's going to happen when it's time. Watch. They're going to keep killing Bantu people. They're slaughtering us. Bana Betu, nZolele, they're going to keep doing it. But nZambi said, I don't sleep. No kulala. I see it. That's what the mother said to remind it. Tata nZambi doesn't sleep. He sees it. And the Malekis that's talking to him, he's like, I don't sleep. I know. Remember that, Maleki. Makong will have to remember. Tata nZambi don't sleep. Kulala. He knows what's going to happen, and he's going to do it. Watch. Yeah, Zola Zola. Kingi, yeah, Kingi, Zola Zola. The Most High, King of Love. Zola Zola, Kingi, yeah, Kingi, Zola Zola. All right, Wakanda. I went way too long. Salakiambote, Mbote, Zola Quingy Sambololo, and remember, Tata nZambi does not sleep. No kulala for King Kongo. He knows everything these people, these Luciferian people are doing. He sees it, and now he's going to do something about it. Ingeta, hallelujah.